Right, it's the end of November 2015 and I'm back on me North Yorkshire syndicate water. I fished here earlier in the year when I did a video blogging around about June, I think it was, when I caught the venue's big one. I was fortunate to catch it after 7 nights, but one of the reasons I joined here was that this lake's actually got really good winter form. Now, I've not done any fishing since I got back from the Orient in France, which was my last video blog, and that was uploaded early November, and this is the first time really that I've got out properly. And I've just fished the night, got here about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon after work, and came down here, put the rods out, fished to the same spots that did me fish earlier in the year, and lo and behold I've gone and caught myself a fish. It's probably around about mid-20, something like that, but we'll have a look at it in a second. But there you go, there's all the gear packed up, or virtually packed up. I'm just going to do some pictures of this fish and get myself off to work, but hopefully we'll be seeing this place again during the course of the next few weeks, because I'm going to be fishing down here, not regularly, but certainly every now and again, to see if I can get one of these other 30-pounders out of the water, because there's a couple of really nice 30s in here, one called Cuttail and another one called the helicopter fish, which either one I really wouldn't mind. There's a couple of other decent 30s in here as well, and there's quite a lot of mid-20s as well, so any of those in the winter in Yorkshire is certainly going to make me smile. But let's have a look at this one for the time being. Oi oi. Nice little lump in the net there. Nice mirror. I've just weighed him in at 28, so very happy with that one. We'll have a look at him on the bank now. Very often winter fishing is just about being out there, and that's all that's happened today. I've got down to the lake just after the Sandown Carp show, put the rods out and fished the night last night, and first light this morning I've just had this lovely chunk of a 28-pound mirror, so very happy with this one, because it's a really old fish, as you can see, and it's got a lot of history to it, so really happy with it. Let's have a quick look at him. And the other thing about it is it looks absolutely gorgeous in its autumn colours. Nice and red and that chestnutty colour to it, so they're always worth catching when they're really old and they've got a bit of history. And certainly up in Yorkshire, a 28-pounder is a nice fish, so I'm very happy with this one. Here we go, he's nearly ready. Go on, dude. Out the net. That's gorgeous. Changed bait recently, and I've moved on to these little beauties from Nash, which is the citrus bottom bait. And if you can remember sort of 20-30 years ago, the Refresher sweets, I don't know if they're still around these days, but when I was a kid there used to be a sweet called Refreshers. Now, they used to smell absolutely gorgeous and taste gorgeous, and these little beauties just remind me of them, because there's a lovely smell to them, and they 100% catch fish as well. Now, they're designed for cold water. There's been a lot of research gone into them by Gary Bays at Nash. There's been a lot of testing gone into them by the lads from Nash as well, and they've produced some fantastic cold water fish. And over the last few weeks since I've moved on to this lake, these are the baits that have been producing the goods. Now, all my fish so far have come on single hook baits, just blasted over the silt, but I have today put a rod out there that's got about 20 free offerings around them, because there's one or two of the lads on the syndicate have been catching fish over bait recently, so I thought just to try something different, I'll put a few out there. So now they are available in 10 millers, 14 millers, as well as the 18 millers, and it's the bigger ones that have been doing me the damage over the last few weeks, because the lake that I'm fishing at the moment has got quite a few nuisance species in it. So I like the bigger baits, and I also like to think that not many people use them, so that's one of the reasons why I'm using them. But these are definitely worth a crack this winter if you're into looking for a new bait for the colder months. They come with a proven track record, and take it from me, they definitely work as well, so worth a shout. Right, we're close to Christmas now, and I'm in a different swim to the last bit of filming that I did. The last bit of filming that I did was from over there, which is a swim called the Point. But today I'm in what's called the Birches swim, which is the same swim that I caught the big one from in June. If you watch any of my other previous video blogs, I talked about catching a fish known as Hoover down this left-hand margin when it was nice and lush green. There was a lot of lily pads about, but I'm back in the swim today, and the reason I'm over here is mainly to try and pick up a bit of action off all three of my rods. Whilst I was on the Point, I was mainly getting my action off one rod. Now, it appears that most of the fish at the moment are out in the middle part of the lake out there, where it's nice and deep. You've got some depths down to sort of 12, 13, 14 point in places, and it's mainly silty out there. But there are one or two bits of gravel dotted around, and I've just picked up a few little areas that I'm particularly happy with. So I've got rods really in spots that aren't far apart, but there's an opportunity of getting a bit of action on all three. Now there was some fish out at the weekend. The swim down to my left, which is known as New Peg, produced some fish out in the middle there, and there was also a fish caught off the opposite bank as well. So it does appear that the fish are definitely out in this middle part of the lake. So all I'm trying to do is, by coming over here, is trying to put as many get as many options available to me as I can, because I think in winter fishing, you know, you do get these fish that hold up in areas, but you've got to try and spread your rods around and find isolated pockets of fish. And what I was finding over there was that definitely I was getting action off one rod. So just coming over here, there's a possibility of getting action off all three. So that's the reason for it. But I have marked the spot that I caught from over there, up from this area as well. I cast a marker out and walked to various different parts of the lake and had a look to see where it was, and marked it up, just because the lake is starting to get a little bit busy at the moment. There isn't anybody else here today, but compared to most of the waters in Yorkshire at the moment, this one is fishing quite well. So I am doing these overnighters, putting myself in the position where sometimes I'm turning up just before dark and I can't get to the same spots that I was fishing the night before. So I've marked up the area from different angles, and at the moment I'm quite happy with what I've got available to me here. But I'm just doing the night tonight, and it's middle of the day today. I've got down here quite early today, but I'm here till sort of 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning, so hopefully we can get a bit of action. I know a lot of you watching these like to know about the rigs that we're using, so here's a quick look at the one that I've caught all the fish on this winter. And it's really simple, and it's nothing really different to what I use throughout my career. It's the same sort of rig that you'll see on the Nash DVD. It's the same one that you'll see in my YouTube videos, and it's basically just a Nash lead clip which is attached to a size 3 lead, and then we've got around about 10 inches of combi link. Now that's stripped combi link. I'm a big believer in using braided hook link, so I've stripped all of the outer coating off, and then basically I've got a liner which is knotless knotted to a size 6 Fang X hook, and that's got a tiny little bit of tubing over the eye of the hook just to protect it, and then we've just got a single 20mm bottom bait on the end of there, and that's basically it. It's really simple. I'm a big believer in that when carp feed, they suck and blow, and with a nice supple hook link like a braided link, it's always going to have more chance of going into the fish's mouth. And it's certainly worked down here. I've had all my fish on it over the winter, and I'm sure it'll certainly work for you guys wherever you're going to fish. The week before Christmas 2015, and we've got myself a couple of nice fish just down here in slings. Absolutely made up, because I've just caught me target fish, and then literally a few moments later I've gone and caught another one of the A team. So absolutely buzzing. Unfortunately I've got no footage of me playing the fish, because most of the carp at the moment are getting caught just before first light, so I've not got the facilities to film fish action in the dark. But yeah, really made up. And I've had one on the right hand rod, and that was the fish known as the helicopter, which we'll have a look at in a minute, and then one on the middle rod. Basically all I'm doing is fishing to a nice deep silty area, which is just out there at about 100 yards range. You've got a bar that runs off the corner of that island, and just at the back of that bar it's nice and silty, and that's where the fish are held up at the moment. And I think the most important thing about winter fishing is to get on the fish. Okay, you need a good bait and a good rig, like you do always, but in winter, if it's not in the right place, then you can be sitting there for weeks on end without any action. And what I've basically done over the last couple of weeks is sort of follow the fish and keep my trips as regularly as possible, because they were down that end of the lake, and then slowly over the last couple of weeks they've moved to the middle part of the lake, and then out in front of here where they are at the moment. So yeah, very made up with this. So let's have a quick look at the two fish on the bank. There we go, that's one of the 18 that I wanted. That's a fish known as Baby Hoover, about 29 pounds, about an hour ago, just before first light. Fantastic, lovely to catch that just before Christmas. 30-pound carp in North Yorkshire are mega rare, but when they look like this as well, they're even rarer. This is called the helicopter fish, and it's my main target for the winter, and as I'm sure you'll agree, it's an absolutely gorgeous English carp. It's a stunning Yorkshire fish, and it's one that's on the most wanted list of every angler on this syndicate. So very happy with that. Oi oi, there's a rod missing off the rest. And there's a sling down here in the margins. Yep, absolutely made up. Now, when I was down here last week, I had the main fish that I wanted really, which was the helicopter fish. And I also caught one that's known as Baby Hoover, which is a really nice old fish as well. And I've just come down here now, which is like 4 nights after I did my last session down here, and I thought, well, there's one other fish that I really would like to catch out of here, and that's a fish known as cuttail. And yep, lo and behold, he's turned up and he's just down there, so we'll have a quick look at him in a minute. But yeah, I don't think the lake's been fishing that well since I left. I think there's been 3 or 4 lads on over the weekend. Nothing's been caught. There's a lad over there to me right, Nige, who's been on for 4 nights and not caught anything. So the lake has really sort of been not in shutdown really for the last few days, but it's not fishing like it was last week. But yep, got back into the same area that I was doing quite well in, and put the rods out last night. Got here at 4 o'clock-ish, just before dark, and yep, just before first light, there she is, or there he is, cuttail. Really old fish from Yorkshire, so yep, very happy to have that one in the album, so we'll have a look at it now. Virtually all packed up now, just photographs of cuttail to do. There's the my rucksack, there's the barra, all loaded up, ready to head off home. Just doing an overnighter, which is basically what most of my fishing tends to be these days, in between dashing to the Carp Talk office and dashing home and writing articles and stuff like that, seeing my girlfriend and the kids. But yep, enjoyed my time on this lake, really enjoyed it. Not fished it a great deal, fished it a little bit in the summer, and then just came down here sort of towards the end of November, and we're now only a few days before Christmas. I think it's the 21st of December today, so we're nearly at the shortest day of the year, which is always a good time of the year, I think, to get on the water, because you always tend to find that the bigger fish in the water will always have a little feed. Won't always get caught, but certainly from Carp Talk's perspective, we've had quite a few big fish over the years caught just before the Christmas break, and that's one of the reasons why I'm all out at the moment to get on the bank as much as I can. But yeah, all done on here. Really enjoyed my time on here. It's a fantastic lake, some lovely fishing here, some really nice guys on the syndicate as well, and I think it's now time to head off to pastures new. I do get a lot of pleasure out of fishing the same waters, but I also get a lot of pleasure out of fishing different venues as well, and I'm not one of these bounty hunters who goes after the biggest fish in the country. No disrespect to anybody that does that. In fact, if that's what they enjoy, then fair play to them, you know. But I don't have the time to travel down south. I live right up in Yorkshire, so a lot of my fishing's overnighters in between work, and what I do enjoy is fishing for the bigger carp in the area that I live, which is in Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire. So what I've got now is I've got a little syndicate just across the Humber Bridge that I'm going to have a little go at. It's fished to just over 40 pounds in there, and I'm looking forward to having a fish on there in the new year when my ticket starts. But for now, it's farewell to this little syndicate. Nice water, very historical water with some lovely old carp in it, and I'm very happy to have caught cuttail, so I'll have a look at that one on the bank now. Absolutely made up with that one. Cuttail at 33. Fantastic. Just before Christmas as well. Had a great week's angling. Haven't been on the lake for 4 days. Last time I was down I had the helicopter fish, which is the biggest in the water, and then I've just come down again just to do a chance overnighter, and I've gone and caught cuttail. Mega. Right, here's cuttail, ready to go. Proper Yorkshire warrior. This one is a real old fish. Seen him in the magazines, seen him on the internet a lot, and I've always really wanted to catch him. So to finally get him is fantastic. There he goes. Just below the rod tips. Lovely.